Okay, so we are finally at the last project, and oh boy, this is the most exciting one so far. It's gonna be a big one, covering scroll animations and a bunch of other fun stuff. Take a look at this. We have a nice, let me refresh this page for us. Look at that, we have a nice animation of the phone there. And on scroll, we have this parallax effect going on with some smoke in the background. The text getting highlighted based on scroll fading in and fading out. How cool is that? And then when we go down here, we get these phones separating on scroll. And then this section here, where we have a nice carousel of the phones animating and changing color. Just like that. How cool is that? And then let's go down here. Let me get rid of this dock. And then we have a video that's animating based on scroll. Look at that. How awesome is that? And then we go down, down, down. And we have this final section of a phone illustrating all the camera's features. All right, so that's a big one. So strap in, let's get going. Now, I have the videos and everything already prepared, but at the end of this chapter, I'm gonna show you how you can also set it up if you want to add it to your own projects. So it involves a bit of Blender, a bit of video editing, and a bit of other stuff. So this is made fully using Blender. It's essentially a video rendered, but I'm going to show you the process because having 3D models is going to improve your website so much more, and also how to export these as videos, and also how to make this little effect down here. Okay, let's get going. Let's get going. Okay, so let's set up our final project here. So we're gonna open folder and let's go over to our documents, and we're gonna go to the JavaScript section here and make a new folder and call this Ultimate Animation. All right, that's the big finale. Let's open this up. So again, I'm gonna provide you the folders with the images and everything. And again, at the end of this chapter, I'm gonna show you how I made them. So for now, just import them and we'll add it, and I'll show you what we add just so everything is nice and clear. Okay, so I'll paste it in here. It's quite a few things. But as you can see, most of the time when you're doing animations or you want to do fancy websites, it's more about the images and more about the images and how you present those images, whether it's having an iPhone PNG and adding a video in there, or actually rendering it out in Blender. That's going to make a huge difference. So let's just have it in here for now. We're going to create the index.html, all of our basic files. So index.html. I'll generate a random new file called this ultimate animation, like that. Then we're going to create all our style.css and our app.js. Perfect. So there we go. We have the 3 files. In here, in the style.css, we're gonna just grab everything again, do a margin 0, a padding 0, and a box sizing, a border box. All right, let's save. Let's head back here, add all of the other stuff that we need. So we need the font family. Again, I just copy over that Poppins. That's gonna do just fine. Like that. Let's link up our style sheet. So /style.css. And we're going to import GSAP as well. So I'm actually going to import a new thing here. So let's go over to Google and search GSAP. And GSAP has a bunch of different plugins that you can use. Now, again, some of them are free, some of them are not. In this case, scroll-based animation plugin is free, so that's really good. So let's grab the first one, which is the GSAP min that we used previously. Go here to the body and paste it down here. Perfect. Hit save. Let's scroll back, hit enter. And the other one that we're going to be grabbing is called scroll trigger. So let's grab that and paste that down here. Hit save, enter. And finally, we're gonna hook up our own app.js down here. All right, so there we go. That's our basic setup file. We are ready to start animating. Alrighty, let's add some of our HTML and CSS so we can start messing around with this. Let's head over to our HTML here and the body right here. So let's do the first page. Let's do the nav and the intro page. So let's create a nav. And in here, we're going to have an A tag. I'm going to leave it with nothing. You can make it so it goes actually back to the home page. That's fine. Index.html. And I'm going to add a class of logo to this and call it iPhone 13 Pro, like that. All right. So after this A tag, we're going to add our nav links. I'm just going to create a class of nav links. And in here, we're going to have 3 other hrefs. Again, I'm just going to keep them empty for now. If you want to create multiple pages, feel free to do so. What was that? There we go. So I'm just going to add a hashtag so it doesn't bring us anywhere. I'm going to say overview, copy paste this 2 more times. See, I'm used to doing the Windows way of copy pasting this downwards. So I'm always going to confuse a little bit. There we go. So it's Option Shift for me now. I'm going to call this switching to iPhone. I made a video a long time ago of saying why I don't use iPhones or any other Mac products, and now I do. And everyone's giving me crap for it, which is quite funny. People don't forget. And people don't also realize that you can change your mind sometimes. Okay, whatever you put on the internet stays on the internet. I also had a button with a class of buy button here. Hit tab and just say buy. All right, so that's our nav here. After our nav, we're going to create our first page. So I'm just going to call these first page, second page, third page, just to keep it nice and clean and easy to understand. Again, if you want to customize it, rename it, feel free to do so. I'm going to create a div called first page text. Hit tab. And in here, I'm going to have a h1. So basically, we're doing this section here. So we finished up, we added the HTML for the nav bar here. And now we're doing just a small text, a bigger text, and then we'll have our image, actually our little video down there. So here, what I'm gonna do is have this h1 called first page title. I'm gonna call it iPhone 13 Pro. And then I'll have a h2 with a class of first page subtitle. Hit tab and call this Oh So Pro and hit save. I like to do funny voices, but they're not funny. Okay, so now that we have this, we're gonna add the video. So right below, let me see which div should we do it. So we have the first page. Let's change this first page to a section to make it nice and clear. So just update this to section. And right here, I'm gonna add a little comment just to make it clear. Add front page video. Okay, so we're gonna go down here, add a video with a source of images. So go to your images and intro /intro animation MOV. Now again, don't worry, I'm gonna show you exactly how I made this animation at the end. So if we take a look now, I think this is the finished one. So let's open it up in live server, just like that. And there it is. Now it doesn't play yet because we need to add a little autoplay on it to play by default. So let's add a class of intro video to it and also add an autoplay to it. Autoplay and hit save. So let's see if it plays now. Hit refresh. Still doesn't play. Okay, so I believe it does not play because we need to add a muted on it. So browsers do change sometimes, and they don't want to have, I believe the reason is they don't want to have it so it's annoying when you go to a website that starts blasting audio and video automatically. So let's try that. Let's add a muted on it and hit save, and look at that, it works. Lovely. So that's awesome. Okay, so we have our first page set up. Now, whilst we're at it, let's go over to style.css, finish up the styling for it, and then we'll move on to the other video where we do the second page. So we'll just break it down piece by piece to make this nice and easy for you. Okay, so let's grab that nav, add a position fixed to it. So I wanted this fixed because I wanted to move along. I wanted to have kind of that effect where you scroll, it stays there, and when you hover over text, it has that blur to it. So it's kind of transparent and has that glass morphism. Okay. So I'm gonna stretch it out all the way. So 100 VW. I'm gonna add a display flex, which is gonna put all of our content horizontally. So look at that, we're finished. Where is it? Oh my gosh. It was Firefox. So there we go. Puts all of our content horizontally for us. So back to the code. Now what I'm going to do is just add an align item center. Now this content pops on top of it just because we added position fixed. And when you have position fixed, it's like removing the content off the DOM. So the rest of the page is going to just jump on top of it. It's like it's not even there. We'll do a justify content of space between, like that. All right, so there we go. Next up, we're going to add a big padding to this. So 0 and 20%. So it's just left and right, like that. Add a little height to it as well. I guess we could do a little 5%er here. That's too much. Let's keep it 0 and we'll just add padding to it. 0%, we'll add a min height, 5VH. Hit save. There we go. Maybe a bit more space. 10. Is that too much? We'll leave it at 10. I'm going to change the background color to RGBA 255, 255, 255. I'm going to add it a 0.6 at the end to make it a bit transparent. Okay, let's hit refresh. And what I'm also going to do is add a z-index of something big like 10. So it always stays on top here. It doesn't seem to work so far, so let's see what's going on here. So we have our nav, we have our style. Let's just examine it in Chrome. So I'll just copy this over to Chrome. Let's head over to Chrome. This is the finished one. Let's paste in this one. Inspect element. See why that background color doesn't work. Might have just messed up some kind of property on it. Oh no, it does work. Just don't see the color of it. Let me bring it down. So what was it, 255? Oh, okay, so it is white. I guess you just need content on top of it to actually see it. So it's fine. There we go. And then to add that blurring effect, all you need to do is do a backdrop filter and do a blur and add like 10 pixels or just any amount that you want. All right, so that's it. That's it for our nav bar. Let's make this a bit prettier, get rid of the text and some other stuff here to clear it up, change the font size of it. It's gonna make it look really nice. So let's head down here, grab the nav and the A tag. We'll do a text decoration of none. We'll do a color of black and a font size of 0.9 or hrem. Let's see how that looks. There we go. Maybe a bit bigger, 0.9, and hit save. Yay, cool. There we go. Next up, let's grab the nav links. A. Let me add the dot there at the end. So nav links A and nav links button. We'll add a margin left of 2 rem. Let's see how that looks. There we go. Just space them out a little bit. It looks quite nice. And then let's grab the logo and make it bold. Font size of 1.2 rem. And I'll add a font weight of bold. There we go. That looks cool. Maybe it's a bit too big. Let's try 1. There we go. I like that. All right. So I'll just add a little comment here that we're doing the first page. So that's just for our nav. And here we'll have our first page. First page. All right. So let's grab the first page. We'll add a min height to it of 100 VH. So I'm adding it so it's full screen because again, this nav little here is, even though it's 10 VH, I don't need to add 90 VH to this section because this is position fixed. So it's always going to be on top of it. Oh, as you can see, the blur also works right there. Cool. So let's add that padding that we used previously. So 0 and 20%. Let me make sure it's the same actually. Yeah, 20%. And add a display flex. Flex direction, column, align item center, and justify content center. So this is just going to drop our text here in the middle. It doesn't work yet because we need to grab that video and add a position absolute to it and position it somewhere off the screen, because right now it's the text in there and the video in there, right? So it's not going to do it yet. Let's grab the intro video. Just do a position absolute and hit save. All right. So there we go. That's going to move it there for us. That's perfect. Oh, we cannot see the first page text because of the Z index. So the video goes on top of it now. So let's also grab that. First page text. Do a Z index of 2 and hit save. There it is, popping up straight in the middle of our screen. Lovely. So let's also add a text align of center to it, like that. That looks cool. And a bit of a padding bottom of 20 rem, something big. I'm gonna push it up a little bit. Maybe not that big. Let's do 10. That looks quite nice. Okay, now it's not perfectly centered. Actually, it is perfectly centered because we added the align items and justify content center. So it should be yes. Okay, let's bring this back. Hit save. Perfect. That looks lovely. All right, so there we go. Let's see what else we can do to improve this a little bit. Let's grab the first page subtitle. Let's do first page subtitle. Do a font size of 4 rem. All right, that's nice. Okay, maybe not that big. 3. There we go. That's much nicer. And let's see, does the finished one? Okay, that's a bit bigger. Again, you can do more padding if you want to push it up. Actually, I like it a bit more down. That stays quite small. We just need to add the font size to it. So that's the subtitle that we did. Let's do the title as well. So let's head back to our code. We'll do first page title, I believe it was. We'll just do a font size of 1.5 rem. Let's see how that looks. Did I grab it correctly? Let's find out. If I do 3.5. Okay, so I didn't grab it correctly. Oh, I need a line there. There we go. So that's correct. So let's do 2 rem here. Okay, 1.5. It's changing my mind every 2 seconds. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That looks quite good. Let's add the little font family here. Let's just do it up here, add it to all the elements. So font family, we'll do Poppins, comma, sans serif. That's gonna make everything look so much nicer. Perfect. Let's also go to the body, and I'm gonna change the, I'll just grab here body. If I do color of red, we can just actually grab all the A tags and the button tags. Let's do A, buttons, the H1s, H2s, H3s. I believe we have H4s in here as well. Just do a color of, we'll not do a black, we'll actually decrease it a little bit to a grayish, like a 60. So just hover over it and that's gonna update. So there we go, something like that. That doesn't look as intense as the other one. Okay, maybe 40, something like that. That looks quite nice. I like that. Alrighty, so that should be it. Am I missing something? Oh, I am missing the button here. So let's quickly make the button, and then we can move on making the second page. So hopefully this was quite easy to understand. Let's do it up here. Just grab the buy button, do a padding of 1 rem, 2 rem on it. Let's see how that looks. Oh, that's too big. That's way too big. Let's do 0.4 and 1.5. Let's see how that looks. Even now it's too big. 0.2. Stretch it out that way. That's nice. And I'll just make the font size a bit smaller. 0.6. Like that. That looks quite nice. Okay. Let's add a background color to it. Background will do hashtag 3056 F5. Okay. Change the color of it to white, so the text is white. There we go. And then we'll just remove that border. That looks quite good to me. We can add a border radius as well. Border radius, and we'll do 1 rem and hit save.
Here's what I found.
Thank you, Siri. Keep touching the pad. All right, there we go. That kind of looks like Apple's website. I guess the cursor is the only thing that's missing. So let's go over here and say cursor to pointer. So it looks like it's actually clickable now, like that. And there we go. That's our first page up and going. Let's refresh that. Look at that. That looks really cool. Okay, let's make up the second page. Okay, let's get our second page up and running. So let's go over to our code. Let's head over to our index.html. So we have our first page finishing up here. All right, and then we can go down here and do the second one. So I'll just go down here, add some comments to make this super clear for you. And I'll just write second page video. Second page. Keep it clean. Okay, we're gonna have a second page here. So I'm gonna create another section called second page. And here's where we're gonna have that smoke video with the text on top of it. So video with a source of /images/ smoke video. Perfect. So here we're going to do the same thing we did in the previous one, which is add an autoplay to it and add a muted to it and hit save. Perfect. So let's also add a class of smoke video and hit save. Okay, after the video, we're going to have a second text div. And this is where we're going to have all that nice highlighted text. So we're going to break it basically apart into multiple pieces. That's how it's going to work. So let me scroll back up here. So it's going to be broken down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. All right. Okay. So let's head back. Second text. So we're going to basically create a text container here. And in this text container, we're going to have, actually, let's make this a P. So it's a long paragraph that's going to be broken up with multiple spans for us. So I'm going to do a span with a class of highlight. All right, so highlighting the text. And in here, I'm just going to say a dramatically more powerful camera system dot. So we'll close that up there. And just go to another line and add a new span with the class of highlight. And I'm gonna just write a display. So responsive, every interaction feels new again. Hit save. Let's do another one. We're gonna do quite a few ones here, so bear with me. Span highlight. This is the boring part. We're not coding, we're just writing text. We're gonna say here, the world's fastest smartphone chip. Let's do a new one. Span highlight. We're going to call it exceptional durability. We're going to add a dot at the end here. Then we're going to make a new span with a highlight. Let's say, and a huge leap in battery life. And hit save. All right, so that should be it. I'm happy with that. Then what I'm going to do is just add 2 breaks here. So I'm going to say BR, like that, with a backslash here at the beginning, and duplicate this 2 more times, like that. Actually, 1 more time. Because I'm going to add another span down below this, which is also going to be highlighted. So span highlight. And I'm going to say let's pro. All right, and that should be it. Let's take a look what we have. So we have the video and we have all of that text, which is going to go on top of this. And I also want to add a smaller section down here. Just these watch film. We can actually just keep it simple. Let's just have let's pro here. I mean, if you want to add more, feel free to. We're not going to animate that anyway. So let's go back up here and we'll leave it at that. And what we're going to do is just go over to the style.css and hook up our CSS, obviously. Okay, so let me scroll down here for you and get rid of this damn doc again. We're going to do second page, so let me add a comment here just to make it clear again. And then we'll do second page. All right, so we'll grab the second page. I'm going to add a bigger min height to this just to stretch it out a little bit more. I'm going to do 125 VH, so we can scroll a bit on that. Add a color of... Actually, I believe we do have the color, but I'm going to take this and just make it a bit transparent. So I'm going to do an RGBA of 255, 255, 0.6, the same we had on our nav bar. Now this is erroring out. I think I have another parentheses here that I need to get rid of. Add a display flex, a flex direction of column, and a position relative. Now I'm adding this position relative just so we can put the text on top of it. Okay, so there we go. Maybe this nav bar can also shrink down a little bit. Seems a bit too thick. Let's do 5. All right, there we go. Maybe that's a bit too small. Somewhere in the middle, 8 looks quite nice. All right. So now that we have that going, let's scroll down to the second page here. We'll grab the smoke video, add a position absolute to it. So now we can position it relative to the second page. So we can add a height of 100%, which is going to stretch it all the way to that container size. So just like that, 125. Okay, I'm going to change the width of it to 100 VW, so it fills up the whole screen. I'm going to add an object fit of cover, so it doesn't look weird and stretched out. I'm also going to add a z-index of 1 and hit save. All right, so now we can place the text on top by adding a bigger z-index. So let's go down here and grab the second text. We'll add a padding to it of 5% and 30%. And if I add position relative and add a z-index, you're going to see the text popping up. So z-index 2. And it's not popping. Oh, there we go. It's just very small. There we go. So the text is not popping up. Make sure you add the position relative, and the z-index always needs to be bigger than the video z-index. So it's 1, 2. So 2 is always going to show up. Okay, so there we go. We have that. Let's do a bigger font size on this. We'll do 3.5 rem. Hit save. There we go. That looks nice. Maybe even 3 is all nice. Hit save. There we go. That looks quite good. I guess we have too much extra space down here, which doesn't look as nice. If we do an align item center here, will that do it? Sorry, we need to do a justify content center. There we go. That's going to drop it straight in the middle there. So that looks quite cool. Guess we could make it a bit bigger. Let's do 3.5. There we go. Just so we can scroll a little bit. Okay, cool. So we have that going. Let's add a font weight of bold to this. Hit save. There we go. Now it looks nice and thick. That's how we like it. That's not a dirty joke. It's just me being silly. Okay, and I believe that should be it for the styling. 2 pages down, 3 left to go. So let's start doing our third page. Let's head over back to our Microsoft Visual Studio Code. I don't know why it came to my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna say the full name. Let's head over to our index.html. All right, and scroll down here. So we're gonna just make a new section called the third page. It's gonna be quite a short one. So I'm just gonna make a section here. Section, third page, and hit tab. In here, we're gonna have our product text container. And this is where we're gonna do that magic of splitting the images. So basically what I wanna do is have 2 texts here, product text left, and we'll add a p tag with a class of phone title. Call this iPhone 13 Pro Max. And another one called phone size. I'm going to call this Pro size, so add those classes there. I'm going to do 6.7 on this one. All right, so that's one div. The other div is going to be product text right. And in here, we're going to have, let me just make sure I got the format correct. Phone title again. Call this iPhone 13 Max. And then we're going to have another class of phone. We'll do a p tag of phone size like that. And also add another class of max size. All right, and this is going to be 6.1 inches. Okay, and I believe that's it here. So we can go outside of this text container here, this big one. And down below here, we can add our product images. So product images, and these are just 2 pictures that I took of the phone. So image, the source of this is going to be image slash, let's do images. Make sure you add the dot slash. and we will do large phone. We'll also add a class to this of large phone. And then we'll copy paste this and do small phone. And then here we'll add a class of small phone and hit save. Okay, and there's another thing that we need to do is add a small text. So let's see if this loads up. So that's the finished one. And we'll also add the Super Retina display promotion down here in the corner. Okay, so let's see, we have the phones, that looks great. We have the text. All right, and then let's just go down here. So right below this, we'll add a p tag with a retina line and call this Super Retina XDR display with promotion. And hit save. And there it is. Awesome. So let's style it up. Style it up. Head over to our style.css. Again, I'll add a new comment to make this super clear. Like that. I'm going to call this third page, which is our phone split animation. All right. So down here, what we'll do is grab the third page again. We'll add that position relative again because we're going to use a lot of position absolutes. So we always want to make sure it's relative to that page. Add a padding of 0% and 20%, just like we did above. Grab the product text container. All right, hit save. So we're going to add a display flex, space around, and justify content center to it. So display flex, justify content, space around, align item center, and a min height of 100 VH. We'll also change the background color to white and hit save. Okay, so there it is. We just made this page a lot bigger and we separated the text just like that. Really cool. So again, I did the text separation like this because these images are going to be positioned absolute on top of each other. Okay, so let's go down here. Let's do the phone styling. So we're going to do phone size, font size. We'll do 2 rem, and the font weight to bold, like that. That looks really cool. We'll grab the pro size. We'll do a text align to right, and then we'll grab the max size and do a text align to left. If I can spell correctly. Yeah, there we go. Is that correct? I don't think that's correct. Let's see. Max size. So this is the max size. Oh yeah, that's correct. Because they're gonna animate outwards like that. Now let's grab those product images. Add a position absolute to them. And we'll do a top 50, left 50. So we can get them right here in the center. Now again, it doesn't work yet because we need to add that transform translate. Minus 50% and minus 50%. And that should drop it straight in the middle. Now, what I also want to do is we're selecting both of them and dropping them in the middle. I want to separate them, grab them separately and just bring them closer together. So I'm going to do large phone. Add a position relative to this. And move it. Do a translate X by 40. So let's see how that looks like. 40%. There we go. So that looks quite cool. So just move it around until you're happy with it. I think that looks quite okay. I'll also add a z-index of 1 to this, and I want the smaller one to come on top of it. So z-index of 1, and then do small phone, position relative, and do a z index of 2 to it. And I'm going to do the same transform translate, but bring it the other way. So minus 40% and hit save. So there we go. That's what we have. If you think that's a bit too big, feel free to also scale it a bit down. Just mess around with it and see how it looks like. All right. Let's see, 0.8. I think we need to do a transform origin for it to scale nicely. So let me see this. If I do the big one, is that the big one? Scale it down so much it doesn't even look big anymore. Now let me do both of them to 0.5 so it's easier to see. Small phone. Okay, let's see why this is not scaling properly. Oh, it's because I added it in here. So do a scale of 0.5. There we go. Let's try a bit smaller, like 0.8. Again, mess around with it, see how it looks nice for you. That looks quite nice. I like 0.8. Okay, there we go. And next up, what I want to do is also take the Super Retina display and place it right here. So let's see what we need to do to make that happen. Let's grab down here at the bottom. We'll do retina line, I believe we called it. We'll do a position absolute. We'll do a bottom 10%. So we'll drop it towards the bottom, left 50%. And to center it perfectly, we'll do the transform translate again, minus 50%, and in this case, minus 10%, because that's the amount that we're moving it down on the bottom. There we go. Maybe bring it up a little bit. Maybe we can do bottom 20, minus 20 here. Nah, that's too much. Let's bring it back to 10. I was happy with that. Perfect. Maybe we can also make this font size much smaller to make it look a bit prettier. There we go. And we'll do a font weight of bold. Just a little text down there in the corner. Still want to move it a little bit up. So I'll do 15% and hopefully that looks fine. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. All right, there we go. Those are our phones. That should be it for the third page. We are getting along really nicely. Let's move on to the fourth one. Look at that. We've done so much. Let's move on to our carousel. So this is a bit trickier when it comes to doing this HTML and CSS. We essentially have two sections here. And what's going on is we have a section here with a lot of images that are positioned display flex. And this goes all the way over and overflows here to the right. So if I go through these, you're going to see that we're essentially just shifting the transform translate over to the left. So it's a long page here that stretches out, but it's hidden behind this little wall here. Okay, and here we're just positioning all the images on top of each other. So we have basically 4 phones with different colors, and we're just dropping it, literally dropping it on top of each other and then fading them out. So let's get this HTML up and going. It's a bit more to it, but it's not too difficult. So let's pop it open here. There we go. Let's head over to our index.html, scroll down. Right here, after the retina section, we're gonna do a carousel. So 4th page, carousel. How do you write carousel? Slide. I'm gonna just say that. Okay, so it's gonna be a section again with 4th page. Let me add the P in there. Actually need to P, not that that's relevant. We'll do a purchase left. So that's going to be the left side with the carousel. It's going to be a bunch of divs here. I apologize. Then we're going to have a phone gallery div. And in here, we'll have another div with all the images. Okay. So we'll have the phone gallery container. Hit tab, And I'm also going to add a class of blue cont on here. Okay. Cool. And in here, we're going to drop in our image. So our image is going to be called images slash blue. Give me the autocomplete, you silly. Blue iPhone back. Okay. There we go. And I'm also going to add a class of blue back to this. Okay. So this is essentially the one that we're going to add a display flex to. So that long bit container that gets hidden. And now here we add another container to stretch it all the way out to the size of this. And then just copy paste this a couple more times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 that we need to do. 1, 2, 3, 4 and hit save. All we need to do is just update this to silver, gold, and graphite. All right. And then here, we'll just update the text again to silver phone back, gold phone back, and graphite. And hit save. So let's see if that works. Let's see if we have them all. Let's scroll down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So again, it's the same image, just with a different color. All right. So that should be our section there. And actually, there's one more thing that we need to add here, which is this color palette here and the text. So let's go back and add that. So here, we'll just go, let's see. So we have this div here, which is the phone, and this div here, which is the phone gallery. So after the phone gallery, so after 2 divs, we're going to drop down here and do swatch container. All right. And then here we're going to have swatches. And down here, we're going to just drop in a bunch of images. / images / swatch blue. We'll also add an attribute to it called swatch and set that equal to blue. And the reason we're doing this is so when we click on it, we can get this attribute in JavaScript and know where to navigate basically on our page, and which carousel, how much we should shift our carousel over to. So let's copy paste this 4 more times, and we'll just update this to silver. We'll update this to gold. We'll update this to graphite. Okay, and here as well, we'll do silver, gold, and graphite. And hit save. All right, so we have our swatches going as well. And after the swatches div here, we'll add a p tag and just add a span in here and say Sierra Blue. After the span, we'll do another one. Add a comma here and a space. We'll call this silver and just do this over and over again for the rest of them. Gold. Add a comma. And we'll do graphite. And hit save. Okay. So there we go. So that should be our left section. Now we need to do our right section. Thankfully, it's quite simple. So go over to the end of this whole left section here, purchase left, and we're going to make a new one called purchase right. It's going to be really easy. We're just going to take our images and drop them here. So we'll do a source of / images / blue close-up, it's called. We'll also add a class of blue space phone. All right, make sure you add the space there and copy this 4 more times. And we'll change this to silver, gold, and graphite. So again, essentially, it's the same image, just big. 4 more times. So blue close-up, we'll do silver close-up, gold close-up, and graphite close-up. Hit save, and there we go. We have all of those 4 in here. Perfect. So that's all of the HTML we need. It's quite a bit, I know, but I mean, you have to have a lot of these images to make it look pretty. Okay, I'll add a little comment here. I'm gonna call this 4th page slider, and then close this up. And then here, I'm just gonna grab the 4th page and add a min height of 100 VH to it. Do a display flex to put those left purchase and right purchase next to each other. So this is the left purchase, this is the right purchase. The sizing is all messed up, but don't worry about it yet. Okay, we'll add a position relative to it as well. There we go. And then we'll take the purchase left, add a display flex. There we go, a flex direction of column. There we go. So essentially this section here with the swatches and text here, that's what we're doing. That's what we're positioning into a column. I guess you cannot really see it yet unless I do the phone gallery. Let's grab the phone gallery and add a display flex to that. So there we go, put them side by side. Okay, so that's where we add this column here. The purchase left is going to be the phones here, the swatch, and the text. So those are positioned in column. Okay, and then the phone gallery, let's also add an align self to flex start. So I'll take this out just so you can see why we add it later. Let's take the phone gallery container. I'm going to add a min width of 50 VW to it. So essentially the half of the screen, that's how big I want these containers to be, right? Because it goes half of the screen and then I want the other one to come in. And this portion here is going to be covered by the close-up. All right, so I want it to take up half the screen, and we'll do a display flex here, align items, center, and justify content center, and hit save. All right, just so they're in the middle of the screen here. Cool. So now that we have that, again, don't worry about the other section there. We're going to fix that up as well. Let's go back here to the purchase left. Okay, let's leave it for now. I guess what we can do is add the overflow hidden here and hit save. So now it cuts off, right? It doesn't show up anymore because we added the VW of 50. So you cannot, so the rest of the content is cut off here. All right, so now we can see our close-up actually, so that's good. What else do we need to do? So we have the container there. Let's modify these swatches a little bit to make them look nice. I guess we could do it here, up here. We can do an align items center and justify content center, just to drop everything in the middle like that. All right. So now that everything is in the middle, as you can see, these do not line up anymore. So that's why we need that align self to flex start. So go here, align self flex start, and hit save. And now it's in the middle. Awesome. Perfect. What else should we do? Let's take a look. Let's grab the swatch container, add a bit of padding to them. Do 2 rem, hit save. And let's also do a text align to center and hit save. Okay, let's grab the swatches. We'll do a padding of 1 rem. Why is this not working? Let's take a look here. Swatch container, swatches. That should separate it a little bit. Let's do an inspect element. Let me make this smaller here for us. Let's see what's going on. Oh, okay, so we added it to the swatch container, which is this big section. And now for this, we'll just add a padding to each individual images. Okay, so let's just go here and do swatches. Actually, we can do swatches, image, do padding. Let's just do left and right. So we'll do 0 rem here, 0.3 rem here, and hit save. So there we go. I guess we could add a bit here to separate it from that text, like 0.5, like that. That looks good to me. Perfect. Let's see, what else do we need to do? We'll add a cursor pointer to this. Hit save. And now let's do the purchase right section. So I'll add a little comment here so we know. There we go. For this one, we'll grab purchase right. We'll add a flex one to it, so it takes up half of the screen. Position relative and change the background to black. Like that. That looks really good. Let's see what else we should do here. Take all the images and do a position absolute on them. So we'll do purchase right image. Just grab them like that. Add a position of absolute, a bottom of 0. So it goes all the way down here at the end. Do a left of 50%. So we cannot see it anymore. So let's see what's up with that. Might be a position relative issue. Purchase left. So 4th page does have a position relative. Okay. Oh, purchase left here should have a flex 1. All right, so they're both the same size. So this should be flex 1, this should be flex 1. Okay, perfect. All right, fixed. And now we can go to the bottom here and position this image up nicely. So left 50%, and then we just need to do a transform translate again to position it perfectly in the center. So transform, translate, minus 50% and 0%, and hit save. So there we go. That's it right there. Now again, if you want to do, you like to do a bit of scaling down? I do feel like these are quite large. So 0.8. And now the problem is, again, this scales down from the middle. So we need to do the transform origin to the bottom, and that should fix it, just like that. All right, there we go. So that's it. Even this, if we want to scale it down a little bit, we can. Let's go look at it. Should be the gallery, phone gallery container. Let me just quickly see how I selected these. So blue back, silver back, gold black. We can do phone gallery container or just phone gallery image. Let's do phone gallery image. Just do a transform scale to 0.5. Let's just see if this works. Yeah, that works just fine. Let's scale it down to 0.8. There we go. I feel like that's a bit nicer. Cool. There's a bit too much space going on here, in my opinion. So maybe we can just get rid of that padding, and that's going to move it a bit down like that. So that's on the swatch container. Let me see. I think there's a bit of padding going on here as well. That's not too much. That's fine. So let's just get rid of the padding on, which one was it? This one. Click on here, swatch container. Okay. So let's go swatch container. Get rid of the padding there. And hit save. There we go. A bit more centered, a bit more aligned. I also want to make the text here a bit smaller. So let's target that. That's going to be our swatches. So it's in the swatch container p tag or span. Let's go all the way to the bottom. Actually here. Swatch container span. Do a font size of 0.8 rem. Hit save. There we go. That looks much nicer. There's something messed up there. So let's take a look at our index HTML. So I believe the last one is not in a span. Yes, that's correct. So let's just make a new span. Add a comma there. Span tab. Graphite. Hit save. There we go. Look at that. All finished up. Looks very nice. Oh no, navigated off the page. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 left to go. Let's finish it up so we can start animating and having fun. Alrighty, let's set up the final 2 sections of our page, which is this animation, this video animation here based on scroll. I like to do that quite a bit. That's quite fun. And then these texts popping in right here. All right, so that's left, and then this one here with the video. Okay, so let's get going. Let me go back here to VS Code. Let me close up my video recording software. OBS. All right, and let's head over to our index.html. Scroll down after this section here. It's time to make a new one. So this is going to be our 5th page. So let's add some comments here. 5th page, which is gonna be our what should we call this? Video scroll page. All right, so here it's gonna be quite simple. We're just gonna make a section. Oops. We're gonna make a section with a dot of 5th page like that. Okay, and here we're gonna have a video, which is gonna be /images/ output 2. It's going to be this one here. Now there's an output 1. I'm going to remove that and I'm going to explain why in the future. So I'm going to also add a muted to this so we can play it. And I believe that's going to be it here. We'll just add a little class to it. Class of product video. Like that. Okay, cool. So we have that. And in here, we're going to do a product info container. So that's all the text on the side that you can see in the video. So it's going to be a left info and a right info. So let's create the 2 classes, left info, and we'll just add some text in here. I'm going to say up to. So this is what I'm talking about, left info, right info, these here, right? Up to, and this text, and then we're going to make 2 more and 2 more here. So up to, I'm going to add a break like that. And then I'm going to have a span here saying 25% brighter outdoors like that. And after this span, we're going to add another break in here. I'm going to say for content that looks even more vivid in sunlight. And hit save. All right, so that's one. The other one is going to be, again, another H3. In here, we're going to add a span, even more display area. Now here, we're going to do another break. So, whoops, BR, like that. Actually, this should be on this side, like that. And I'm going to say, thanks to smaller true depth camera system. Let's just do camera system. And there we go. All right, cool. So that's our left info. We'll just copy paste this and do right info like that. Okay. And we'll just update the text here. So we'll do custom OLED technology. And here we're going to say pushes the display. We'll just add a load of shite in here. So in the span. Actually, let me see. Yeah, I don't think I even used the span here, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, outside here. Okay, wait, let me see what's going on. I think I copy pasted this incorrectly. Up to, so there's a break there, then there's the span. So that's good. And then here it should be a span now. I'll just remove everything and do it again. Just to make sure we're not messing anything up. So H3, we'll do a span in here and say custom OLED technology. I just got an OLED LG TV and it's absolutely fantastic. OLED is just so cool, isn't it? Just the vibrance you get with the colors and the blacks. Really nice. Pushes the displays. Incredible resolution. And color right to the edge. Okay, there we go. And finally, let's do another one, H3. Sometimes funny that the text takes up more time than the code. I always find that amusing. 1200 nits here. And we'll say peak brightness for your HDR photos and videos. And that should be it. So that's going to be our 5th page. It was just mainly text here that we needed to add. So let's take a look in the browser, see how that looks. So this is the finished one. So right here, we have the video and we have all that text down there. Okay, so let's style it up right now. So go back here to the code. There we go. Go over to style.css. So we have our purchase right. This was the 4th page. So let's do the 5th page. Add our little symbol here. And we'll grab, wait, I have 6th page here. Oh, there we go. 5th page. Yeah, there we go. We'll do a min height of 100 VH again. We'll grab that product video. Do a position absolute to it. Height of 100 VH, a width of 100%, and an object fit of cover. So we're stretching it again all the way out to fill up the whole screen. All right, also add a z-index of 1 because we're going to put the text on top, which is going to have a z-index of 2. So that's going to be the product info container. So product info container. So you're going to make sure you add a position relative, so it goes on top of it. Add a z-index of 2, color of white, display of flex, align item center. So let's see what that does. It's right there. You need to make sure the color is white. Why is it not white? Okay, we'll see. We'll figure it out in just a bit. We'll add a min height. 100 VH to this as well. There we go. And then we'll do a justify content of space between. Like that. That's cool. So I want to add the padding back to kind of keep a good consistency with all the paddings here. So we'll do a padding of, there we go. Padding of 0%. I'll do 10 rem actually. I don't want it. I want to have more space here with the phone being here. It's quite big, so I want it to pop out nicely. Then what I'm gonna do is grab the right info and left info. Just make the width a bit smaller. So I'll do 20% just to make it like that. All right. And then what I'm going to do is grab left info H3 and right info H3. Just add a bit of padding to them top and bottom. So 0 rem and 3 rem on top and bottom, just to separate it up nicely like that. Okay. Let's also, what else do we need to do? I do like the sizing of that. Let's see if we grab the left info span, the font size of 2 rem, hit save. I guess so. If you want to make the span look a bit bigger, feel free to do that. I guess we could do like 1.5. This is optional. If you like that look to it, that actually looks quite nice. Let me add a comma here and grab the other one. So right info, span, and hit save. There we go. That looks quite nice. Okay, there we go. What else should we do here? I think that's gonna be it for this one. Let's see why the color is not showing through. Oh, I think because it's the span, right? So the span is still gray. So let's go back here and see if we add a color of white to this, if that fixes our issue. Fixes that issue. The contrast is still a bit too strong on it, in my opinion. Let's add color white here on the H3s as well. Yeah, there we go. It's a bit too bright because it's black on white. So I'll just lower this to something like 193. Yeah, that looks nice like that. I'll just copy paste this over here. And hit save. There we go. That looks a bit nicer. I guess we could make this a bit brighter, so the span to just bring out a bit more contrast to it, but not too much, 210 or so. There we go. That looks cool. Alrighty, so that's our section done. All done and finished. And now we can finally move on to the final one, to the final section, and then start animating this already. I'm too excited. And we are at the final page. Yay! Let's get this going. All right, so for our final page, we will be doing a video here. Let me scroll back down. So we have a phone. So this is basically just a PNG and a video that's positioned in it. All right, and then just an image with some text there. All right, so let's get that going. And this also animates in and out like that. All right. Cool. I'm going to separate this a bit more when it comes to our final project, just to give it a bit more space. All right, so let's head to our code. Let's go to our index.html. And thankfully, it's not going to be too much, so we're almost done. All right, so 5th page here, it's this section. And down here, we're going to do a section called the class of 6th page, like that. Here we're going to have a photo description, like that. And in here, we're going to have a H3 with the photo title. I'm just going to say customize. I'm going to add a break here. your camera to. And then down here, a h4 with a class of photo subtitle. Hit tab, lock in your look. All right, and there we go. So that's one. Another one is going to be our portrait container. So portrait container. Here I'm just going to add the image that you see on the left side there, on the right side. So images / portrait JPEG. That's going to be the one. All right. I'm also going to add a class of portrait to this. And hit save. Last but not least, we're going to have that section where we have the video inside the phone. So I'm just going to call this phone video. So in here, we're just going to have the image of the iPhone frame. And I'm also going to add the video with the source of /images / iPhone camera video MP4. I'm going to add an autoplay to this, a muted, and a loop, so it keeps going on and on. So if we take a look now, oh my god, that image is absolutely ginormous. But take a look, we have our video there, and that's going to be positioned on top of this. So again, I'm going to show you later on how we can use video editing to get the same size and get a video formatted like this. So we can easily just drop it in the center there. All right, so let's style this up because that image is absolutely killing me right now. We cannot see any of the page. So let's head back to our code, go over to style.css and do the last page right here, which is going to be our 6th page. 6th page. All right, so all we need to do is do a 6th page, add a min height of 100 VH to it, a padding, do 10% and 20%. We'll see if we are going to modify it or not. Justify content, space around, and again, a position relative. So all of these pages have a position relative because we're doing a lot of position absolute on the children. Grab the portrait, just add a height of 70 VH to it. All right, let's see what we have so far. So this is what we have. Just made this a lot smaller. I like the way that looks. All right, let's get the, let's see what we should do now. Do the phone and video. So phone, video, do a position absolute on this, bottom of 0, and a left of 40%. And hit save. I'll do a Z index of 2, so it's always on top. So there we go, it's right there. Then we'll do a transform, translate, minus 40% and 0%, and hit save. All right, so next up, I'm gonna grab the, so this is the container basically. Now I'm gonna grab the phone and video on the inside. So phone video image and phone video video, and do a position absolute so they go on top of each other like that. All right, it's not perfect yet, so we'll just kind of move it and shift it around to position it perfectly. All right, so if we take a look with the inspect element, there's our video, there's our picture. The main issue here is the sizing is a bit off. Because as you can see, I mean, you can try to get it as close to the picture as you can, but this is square, this is a bit different, and you want this to be a bit smaller, but also for these edges to not show up and peek through the phone. So it's a bit tricky to get it So you just need to mess around a little bit with some CSS. So we'll grab the phone, video. Just gonna add a left on one rem to it, just to shift it a little bit over on the bottom of one rem. And hit save. Yep, what did I do? Bottom one rem. Oh, bottom. Okay, that's not correct. Why is that not working properly? So that's fine. Let's see why bottom one rem is not doing it here. It's actually shifting it up like that. Let's see if we do it here, bottom one rem. Okay, so we'll add bottom 0 rem up here and then 1 rem down here for the video. Okay, so that's good. As you can see, that's speaking true and it looks a bit weird, which is fine. We'll fix it up now. So yeah, I should have just done this. Let's just grab the phone, video, image. So let's grab the image, add a Z index of 2 to it, so it's always on top like that. And then we'll do the bottom 0 here. So bottom 0 and left 0 on here, just like that. So to get rid of those borders, we can either scale this image a bit down. So we can do a transform scale 0.8 and see how that looks. Oh, sorry, this is on the image. We can also do it on the image and then on the video as well. So what we want to do is essentially is make the video a bit smaller, 0.7. But then the problem is that it's not filling up the entire screen. So actually, let's keep it 0.8. And what I'll do is I'll do a border radius on the video. I'm gonna be sneaky. Border radius 2 rem. Okay, just make those corners a bit smoother. Perfect. We can do it a little bit more here, 0.82, just to make sure it's all nice and filled up like that. Yes, perfect. That looks good to me. Okay, there we go. So let's see what else we need to do here. So regarding this first page here, the 6th page, we need to shift some things around. So space around here. Let's add a display flex. I forgot to do that. Display flex and hit save. There we go. So that looks good. Now we'll increase the font size of this a little bit. I might make the phone a bit smaller. We'll do 0.7 and do 0.7 here. Hit save like that. All right, there we go. I did 40% here. Let me just do 50 and hit save. And this shifts it actually a bit more to the left. Let's see why that's going on. So phone, video. Why is this getting shifted so much? Should be relative to the 6th page, which is full screen. So let's see, position relative. It does have a position relative on it. That's strange. It works with 40, so that's fine. That pushes it straight in the middle. I wonder if it's just a weird, shouldn't be a padding issue because it's position absolute. So let's see if we can just quickly go through this and figure it out. Because this is independent here, this phone video section. So that's nice and there. Okay. Oh, it might be because we added the position absolute on this and it doesn't have a height or width to it, right? It's not going to care how wide the video and images are here. So let's just do that, which is going to be simple. Rather than trying to mess around with the width and the height, we'll just do 40 here. and 40 here. And then we know it's going to be perfectly centered. Okay, there we go. So let's close that up. So we got that going. I guess we could push these a little bit further apart. So let's take a look at the spacing there. So this section, the 6th page, has that padding going on, right? Which is a bit too much. Actually, not that. The space around here, if I switch it to space between, like that, there we go. Now it aligns nicely up with these corners. So let's do that. I like the way that looks. Space between like that. And then we'll just increase the size of the text here and we'll leave that in the center. So let's go back to our code, do space between here. There we go. And then we'll just increase the size of the phone title and the phone subtitle. Let's go here, do phone title, do a font size of 2 rem, and then phone subtitle, do a font size of 4 rem, and hit save. So that doesn't seem to be doing anything, so let me make sure I selected them correctly. Phone title, phone subtitle. Let's go back here. Oh, it's photo title, damn it. Photo, save, and there we go. That looks quite cool now. All right, maybe we can increase the size of this just a little bit. Bring it back up to 0.8. I do like the way that looks. There we go. And this is going to animate on top of it nicely. So there we go. We finished the whole page. This looks pretty cool already. One issue I found here is, look, after this video is done, it just stops. Is because we don't have a loop on it. So I think I actually added it. In case you don't have it, let's go back here and check. Make sure to go to the smoke one, which is, let's see, where is it? Here, smoke video, autoplay, add a loop in there, okay? Hit save. And now it's gonna play indefinitely. All right, all done. Yay, let's start animating this thing. So excited. Okay, very exciting times. We are finally starting our JavaScript section using the scrolling. So let's do it. So the first thing I want to do is introduce you to scroll trigger and how it works and what we can do with it. So what we want to do is, for this one, so here, I'm going to leave this after. So we have a section here. So this is going to pin and go like that, right? So we're going to skip this part for now. And I'm just going to focus on animating this text in and out like that. Okay? So let's go back here to our code. And the way we do that is essentially we're just creating a timeline again. So let's do a timeline. Actually, let me just show you an example of what we can do here. With scroll trigger. So I'll just remove everything. So I'll just do const tl intro. We'll grab the first page and do a gsap.timeline. So it's the same way that we've done it before. Here we did the defaults and everything, but for now what I'm going to do is actually add scroll trigger here. All right, just like that. So this takes in a few parameters. One of them is trigger. So when do you want to activate the scroll trigger? Well, in this case, the first page. So as soon as we start scrolling, I want to do some kind of animation. All right. Now, what else we can do is add a starting position and an ending position. So how long do I want this animation to run? So I'm going to do start and say 0%. So basically at the top of our page. So start animating. So again, we selected the first page, which is this whole thing, right? And 0, so up here at the top is going to be our starting position. So as soon as we start scrolling, we're going to start animating it, okay? And we can also add an ending position. So let me go back and show you that. And that applies the same way. So if I do end 50%, that's gonna finish halfway through the scroll here of the first page. If I do 100%, it's gonna finish right here. So what I'm gonna do is actually target this nav bar here so you can visually see what's going on. So I'm just gonna do 100% for now. Okay? And that's gonna be it for now. So we have our timeline. We can just do TL intro. Again, I can just do a from to or to. Let's do it from to. I'll just grab the nav and do an opacity. Whoops. Opacity 0, 1 to opacity 0. My apologies. And we'll do a duration of 1 second and hit save. Okay, so let's see. As soon as I start scrolling down a little bit, it starts fading out. So that's cool. So by default, it triggers the animation, okay? So if I do it 50% down here, so the start 50%, the GSAP from to is gonna run as soon as we scroll 50% on this section. So boom, there, all right? And what you can also do if you wanna visually see this, you can add markers to it. So markers, true, and hit save. And now you can see there's the scroller start here. So if I scroll down and touch that, that's when the animation is gonna occur. Now the thing is though, I'll just remove this for a second, is that this end is quite worthless, right? It's not really doing anything because it's not like it's animating the opacity out based on how much we scroll. So that's the default behavior. But what we can do is we can animate it based on scroll. So just take out the duration from here. And all you need to do for that is go down here and add a scrub and set that to true and hit save. So now when we scroll, it's gonna fade it out. See, it's gonna calculate the percentage of that. So if I want it to start as soon as possible, I'm gonna do 0% here. As soon as I start scrolling, it starts fading out and it's gonna finish the animation right as soon as I touch this end here. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. It's quite simple and quite fun actually. So if I want this to finish much faster, so let's say 25% down, I'll just change the ending to 25, like that, and hit save. So now if I scroll 25% down, it's gonna fade out. So you can leave it like that if you want, if you like it. We're gonna keep it fixed. So this was just basically a little example of how scroll trigger works with GSAP. Really awesome, I absolutely love it. This is my favorite thing. So let's start implementing the highlight because it's a bit more complicated, but fun. Okay, so let's get our highlight up and working. So what we're gonna do is just get rid of this whole thing and remake it from scratch. So we're gonna make a const, let's call this highlight page 2. What we're gonna do is create a const tlh for TL highlight, set this equal to gsap.timeline, like that, add the curly brackets. We're gonna do a scroll trigger again, like that. And the trigger is gonna be our second page. All right, so trigger, it's gonna be second page. Cool. I'm also gonna add the markers so we can visualize it. And you can actually kind of customize these so it's easier in case you have many more scroll triggers. So I'm gonna change the color to blue and the end color to blue. And there we go. Awesome. Add the comma, actually, let's do white. All right, so we have our markers, and now we can add a scrub to true, right? Because we want to animate it whilst we're scrubbing. And now we need a start and end position. So let's just do start 0% for now and end 100%. All right, hit save. So now what I want to do is do a gsap from to, a tlh, so we'll grab that timeline, do a from to, we'll grab all the highlights. So this grabs all the highlights here, dot highlight. And what we're gonna do is just update the color oops, color, RGBA, so we'll do white, right, 255, 255, 0.4, because we have an opacity set to it, and then we'll just update it back to full opacity. So let's paste that there, just change this to 1. All right, so we're just upping the opacity of it, and that's it. So let's see what we have so far. Let's go back here, scroll, so that's where the start is. So as soon as I hit it, well, nothing really seems to happen. Well, everything fades in, as you can see. Everything just becomes full opacity, right? So, but it takes a while, right? We need to get to the end here. So let's also shorten the duration of this. So let's do something like, we'll do this 40, okay? And go back here. So now scroll, 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 and starts animating and it ends here. The thing is though, I want these to kind of animate in and out independently. So for that, what we can do is just add a stagger in here. So go here to the from to, add a comma here, and do a stagger of 1 and hit save. Let's see now. So now it fades in, whoop, whoop, fades in, fades in, fades in, fades in, and fades in. The only difference is I want this to start sooner. So I want it to kind of start here already. So what you can do is you can also define, the end can be minus here. So it starts sooner. So I can do something like minus 30 here, minus 30, and hit save. So now as soon as I start scrolling, look at that. It starts fading in much sooner, maybe even minus 40. Just kind of mess around with it, see how it looks pretty for you. But look at that, that looks really cool. Awesome. So now the only thing is left to do is we also need to fade it out. So for that, basically the best way I found to do this is to just create another one of these timelines. So we're basically gonna duplicate this whole thing down here. I'm gonna remove the comments. I'm gonna do TLH remove like that. TLH remove. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna do the second page again. I'm gonna change the color here to pink, just so we can differentiate it. Scrub is gonna stay true, and we're gonna just mess around with the start and end position. And what we're gonna do is essentially just change this back. So from 1 to 0, like that, and then just move the starting position to a different one here, and the end position as well. So let's try minus 20 and 60, how that looks. So scroll, scroll, scroll. So let's see where the start is. So as you can see, here's my initial start. It's quite hard to see actually because it's white. Let's do blue and blue. So blue is our starting one, right? So as soon as it hits the start, let me refresh that. It's gonna start fading it in, and then it's gonna start removing it as well. Now it acts quite funny right now. So it does that because for this one, we'll just add a 2 and do a 2 opacity of 0.4. So let me update that and get rid of this first line, and that's gonna fix our issue. All right, so I don't want it to go from opacity 1 anymore because that's gonna set the opacity to 1 already. So now if I scroll, as you can see, hit the start, starts fading in, and as soon as I hit the other start, it's gonna start fading that out like that. There we go, that's quite nice. And there we go. And now all you need to do is, if you wanna make this look a bit different, is to just update the starting and ending positions to it. And just mess around with that to get a better effect. I found this to work quite nice though. Minus 20 and 60, and these are 40, 40. So I'll just increment basically 20 here and 20 here. So that's gonna give it a bit of space to do it. And there we go, look at that. That's our finished animation for our text. Now, finally, what I wanna do is just as soon as I start scrolling, I want the page to come on top of it. So to do that, basically what I want to do is pin the first page. So pin the first page. So the way we're going to do that is super simple. I'm going to call this const tl intro, set this equal to gsap.timeline. So I want to trigger this as soon as possible. So we're going to do a scroll trigger, and we're going to do a trigger of first page like that, and a start position of 0%. So it starts as soon as possible. And I want to unpin it basically at the end. So at 100%. So end 100%. So the way you do that is you just say pin true, and that's it. So as soon as we start scrolling, look, I'm scrolling, but the page stays in one place. So this is really cool if you want to keep the page in one place and you want to start animating things on the screen. So imagine you pin it and you start animating this out, and then it gets unpinned at the end. However, in my case, what I want to do is to let the other content just come on top of it. So the way we can do that is, besides pin, we'll just add a pin spacing of false. And that should be it. So now when we scroll, the other page just comes nicely on top of it like that. How awesome is that? Super cool. All right, so that's going to be it for our first two sections. See you in the next one. Next up, let's do the splitting of the images down here. So let's scroll down, and we want to split these images, kind of move them away from each other, and also fade in this text. So it's going to be super simple, actually. Not going to be too much to it that we haven't done already. So let's do page 3 down here. So page 3, I'm going to do const tl, I'm going to call this split, set it equal to a gsap timeline again. All right, and then we're going to add the scroll trigger here again. This is going to be our third page. And there we go. And for the start, let's try -25%. And end, let's try 30% and see how that looks. I want this to be quite short, and then scrubbing is going to be true because I want to do the pinning again on this page. So let's grab the TL split. We'll do a from to, grab the large phone, and we'll do an X to 40%. These are the values I found to work the best for me. We'll see if they need updating, we'll do it. And then here we'll do X 20% and we'll leave it at that. All right. And I also want to show you something new here with duration. How does duration come into play if we have scrubbing set equal to true? Let's grab TL split. We're going to do that in just a bit. We're going to grab the small phone. So essentially grab both of them and move them in the opposite direction. So here I'm going to do X minus 40% to X, let's see, minus 20%. Let's see, what did I mess up here? An extra pair of parentheses. This looks good to me. Why are you erroring out? What have I missed? Ugh, I cannot tell, so I'm just gonna delete it all. X minus 40% to X minus 20%. Oh, here we go. Scroll trigger. This needs to be an object here for us. So object. And then this one needs to be the trigger. My apologies. So let's just move everything in here, paste it in here, and we'll do a trigger, which is going to be the third page. And add a comma here. That should do it. All right, so let's see. Dip, dip. And there we go. So I want to start it sooner. So let's do minus 25% and hit save. So it should start there, doop, doop. And I also want to move them at the same time. So all we have to do is come here, add a comma, and do a smaller than symbol. And there we go, now we're moving them at the same time. Now, same thing with the text. So all we have to do is grab the TL split dot from to, grab the product, text left, and I'll just move it x50, opacity 0. So we'll grab that and then transition it back to opacity 1 with a x of 0. Okay, and we're gonna play this at the same time as well. So I'm just gonna add a smaller than symbol, and then we're gonna duplicate this and paste it down here. All we need to do for this one is just update some values. So we'll do -50, and that's about it. Let's see if that looks good. So that fades in. And the other one doesn't work, so let's see what's up with that. We just need to do right here. And there we go, take a look at that. Cool, that looks really nice, I like it. So now what I want to do is also bring this page on top of it. So we're going to pin this page. We're going to do const tl split pin, set that equal to gsap.timeline, like that. Scroll trigger. And we're going to do a trigger here of third page, like that. We'll add a pin of true, pin spacing like we did before of false. It's going to make it come on top, and the start is going to be at 0% and it's going to end at 100%, so it fully covers it up. All right, let's see. So it goes down, opens up, and then that section comes on top. Now this needs a background of white on it, so let's fix that really quickly. Let's go to style.css, and that should be here on the 5th page, 4th page, the left cover, purchase left here. We'll do a background of white and hit save. And there we go, now it covers it up nicely. Yay, there we go. So scroll, nice open up, and that goes on top of it just like that. Awesome, so that's all done. Now we can get into the gallery, which is going to be really fun. It's going to be a lot of JavaScript code, so it's going to be a good practice for our skills. So let's do that. Okay, let's do the carousel next. So let's open up back our VS Code, head over to app.js, scroll all the way down, we'll do the carousel. Alrighty, it's not gonna be too bad, just a couple of lines of code really. So what we'll do is we'll grab the swatches, we'll grab basically everything that we need. So we'll do a query selector all, we'll do swatches image. All right, so that's how we grab all of them. We'll grab the gallery, document.query selector. This is a normal one, so not all. Phone gallery. We'll grab the slides, document.query selector. This is going to be a query selector all, phone gallery container. All right, because there's multiple of them there. So every phone represents a slide. So the blue one is like 50 VW, and then the other one overflows and overflows and overflows. All right, so we have those three. Next up, what I want to do is grab the current swatch, which is always going to be, so initially when the page refreshes first, it's going to be blue. So current swatch, that's the one that's going to be selected by default. Okay, so what I'm going to do is basically loop over those swatches. So swatches now for each, and in here we are going to have available our swatch and the index. So let's close that up. And what I can do here is actually grab the position of each individual slide here using the index, because everything is in order here. So if I just do a console log of slides and pass in the index like that, and take a look at the inspect element, it's going to return us all the phone galleries. So all of those that are overflowing left to right, right? So slides index, that's the way we can get them. So I can get the coordinates of these by saying slides index. So again, that grabs all of them, and get bounding client rectangle. Wow, who came up with this one? So this one gives you the position of all of those containers, the left position, the right position, top, the width, the height, anything that you need basically. But I want to grab the left. So if I do a console log of chord and hit save, look at that. It gives you the position, the left side position of those containers. So now what we can do is we can animate the left. So do like a left equal to that specific side's left to move it back. All right. So now that we have the coordinates, what we can do here is do a swatch dot add event listener, and on each swatch we'll add a click. Here we'll have access to the event as well. So what we'll do first of all is grab the swatch name. So we can grab that by saying e.target.get attribute swatch. If you remember, in our HTML, we added a swatch attribute to all of those. So let me scroll down and show you. Here we go, swatch, blue, silver, etc., etc. So now if I console log this out, console log, swatch name, hit save and go back here, we're gonna see if I click on these, it's gonna give us the corresponding color. All right. Now what I can do is I can grab the close-up picture based on what I'm clicking on. So if I click graphite, I want to be able to select the graphite close-up. So the way we can do that is if we check the class name on these, so it's called graphite phone, right? So what we can do is do a query selector. I'm going to say let close-up image, or just close-up document.query selector, just a normal one. I can add the dot plus the swatch name, the thing that I'm clicking on. So that's one way that we can select the close-up image. All right, so I can do a check now. I can do an if statement. Actually, before I do that, let's just try to animate that first of all. So actually, there's quite a few stuff that we need to do here. Let's try this. Let's try a gsap from to, and we'll grab the close-up, right, because we have access to it, and we'll just fade it out. So opacity 0 to opacity 1. So we'll fade it in and add a duration of 1 second to it. All right, hit save, and let's take a look. So I click on this, it fades in. The problem is that they're all on top of each other, so you're not really gonna see it fade in, right? Because of the z-index. So there's a z-index issue going on here. So what I want to do actually is that the swatch that I'm clicking on, I want the close-up to keep increasing its z-index, so it's always gonna be on top of it, fading in. All right, so one way we can do that, this is just a simple little trick, is we can go up here where we had let current swatch, and I can do a let top index and set it equal to 2. All right, and now down here what I can do is do gsap dot set, grab the close-up, and just add the z-index of 2, which is top index, right? I'm just gonna add the variable in there and hit save. So let's take a look now. And look at that, it's fading nicely in. Cool, and we can click on this one, and that's awesome. The problem is if we keep clicking more, well, now all of them have z-index of 2, right? So again, it's not gonna work. So what we can do, this is super simple. At the bottom, let's just increment our z-index every time we click on something. So I'm just gonna do top index plus plus, right? So it's always gonna increase. It's gonna go z-index 3, z-index 4, z-index 5, which is always gonna ensure that it's gonna be on top. So now we can click on it as many times as we want, and it's going to work just fine. There we go. The problem is if we click on it again, it's going to have that bouncy effect to it, right? So we want to stop that. And the way we can do that is just run a little if statement up here. Check if we are on the same swatch. If we're on the same swatch, we don't want to run any of these animations anymore. We just want to return. So if current swatch, all right, triple equals to the swatch name, so the thing that we're clicking on, then return. Okay, don't do anything. So let's see. So click on that, click on that. If we click again, we still have that issue because we're never updating the current swatch here, right? It's always gonna be blue. So let's see where we're gonna update that. Let's do it down here. So after we click on it once, it's gonna update. So I'm just gonna say current swatch equal to swatch name, right? So after we click on it, make sure to set the current swatch to the one that we clicked on. So click. Now if we click again, look at that, nothing happens anymore. The function gets returned and we are done. So that was quite simple actually, wasn't it? It's just a simple opacity in and incrementing the z-index that gives you this cool effect. Now you'll be shocked how simple the gallery is gonna be. So gallery, all we have to do is a gsub.to, we'll grab the gallery and the x is basically gonna be minus our coordinate. All right, so we're gonna set the left value to that coordinate and that's it. Duration 1 second, ease is gonna be power to the ease out. And that's it. Let's take a look, click through this and look at that. We have a nice fade in. Awesome. What we can do is actually choose a different visualizer, a different ease to it. Maybe a back, that might look quite cool. Let's just see how that looks. Let's copy that over and paste it. So we add the minus here, by the way, because if we don't, it goes in the opposite direction. So we want minus to it. So take a look, if I click like that, it goes the opposite direction. So just add back the minus and that should be good. Let's see. Let me do a refresh here. Click. There we go. And we get the nice fade in. Now that's too much of a bounce to me. So I'm going to do 1.2. Maybe even 1. It's a bit too powerful. Back out to 1. There we go. How cool is that? Now initially, if we refresh the page, the black one's showing up. So I think we just need to update that in our CSS. So let's go over to our CSS and see. So here, somewhere here, we'll just do the blue one and add the z-index of 1 to it. Blue z-index of 1. So that's the first one showing up. There we go. So now it matches correctly. Hit refresh. Look at that. We have a nice, cool animation running. Awesome. So that's going to be it for this section. Let's move on to animating this video. See you there. Okay, for our next section, we essentially just have a video with some text. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you want to do scrolling with video, it's a bit quite tricky because if you just add a normal video, it's going to lag a lot. The browser, the encoding matters so much in this case, and it's going to be extremely laggy. So what I did was actually convert this using FFmpeg, which is an encoder or decoder, one of the two. And that optimizes this video for it to work smoothly. Now I'm gonna link a resource on how you can transform videos over to FFmpeg. There's a lot there on YouTube. I might actually do a follow-up video on this one and add it to this chapter. Okay, but mine is already made, so you can just drag it in and it's gonna be output 2 called, we linked it up, so it's all good. It's gonna be super easy to do once you have that correctly formatted or encoded. All you need to do is, let's go back to our app.js, go here to the bottom, Let's see, let's do the page 5. So page 5, video on scroll. All we have to do is create a timeline like that. Set this equal to gsap.timeline. We're going to add our scroll trigger. And the trigger is going to be our 5th page. The start, I'm going to do -20. I found that works really nice. And the end is going to be 100%. Like that. I'm going to add a scrub of true to it as well. And all we need to do is do a TL video from to. And basically you just grab the video. So product video. And all you need to do is grab the current time, set that to 0, which is from the beginning, and update it to the end of the video. So I know this video lasts for 3 seconds, so I'm gonna do 3 here. And that's it. You just do from 0 to 3. Update the current time on scroll. So let's see if we scroll and nothing's happening. Okay, let's see why not. Any errors? So it says GSAP target not found. So make sure we add the dot here, hit save again. Let's scroll down and look at that. That's pretty much it, huh? That wasn't too tough, was it? Now what I want to do is actually pin the video here. So we can just watch the animation, and then we can also watch the text slowly start fading in. Okay, so to do that, very simple. All we need to do is, I think we can just add a pin of true here, and that should do it. So actually I want to do it 0 here, 0% like that. Let's scroll, boop, boop, and we are done. That's cool, isn't it? Now what I can also do is for the text to start fading in, we can grab those containers. So let's do TL video from to. We'll grab our product info container h3s, add a comma, fade them in from opacity 0 to opacity 1, and add a bit of a stagger to it to differentiate them a little bit. And I want these to run at the same time as the video updating. So I'm just going to add the smaller than symbol there. Take a look. There we go. So scroll, doop, 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 and we are done. Oh, so my apologies. I just needed to add the smaller than symbol in the correct position. So it was here actually, not here. I added it at the end. So my apologies for that. So now as soon as we start, look at that. It starts animating all out nicely. I also increased the end position here to 1. Let's do 150. That should be quite good. So let me scroll down here to this and go and look at that. It comes nicely out. Perfect. Now, one thing you can do is actually mess around with the speed of this. So even though it's 150, if you add different durations, it means that this is going to run twice as fast as this. So if I do duration 1 here and do a duration of 0.5 and hit save, let's go back. Now that animation is going to run twice as fast as this one. Okay, so we're going to keep it like that. That looks good to me. Awesome. So finished it up. Last but not least, what we want to do is have a nice little parallax effect on this last page. So let's finish that up. For the last page fading in, all we have to do is make a little parallax here. So let's head back to the code. We'll add our last page. Very exciting. 6th page. The const.tl parallax. Set that equal to gsap.timeline. Just like we did before. grab the scroll trigger. As you can see, once you get in the groove with these, it's so easy to do. It takes more time to do the actual HTML and CSS than the JavaScript, really. So 6th page, let's grab that. We'll do a start of -25%, so a bit sooner, and end it 50% the way through. Also do a scrubbing of true on it. All right, and what we're gonna do for this is do a TL parallax from to. So we'll grab the photo description first. Add a comma. To grab the Y to 0. And this one, we're gonna move it up to 80, like that. All right, so that's gonna make it a bit faster than the rest of the content. So take a look at that. This moves at a faster speed than the rest. So it gives you that little parallax effect. So we can do the same to the rest of them and just run them at the same time. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it over here. We'll change this to our portrait container. Like that. And we'll keep everything the same. And we'll just run it at the same time. So comma, and add that symbol there. Okay, let's take a look. So now they run at the same time. Whoa, that's so cool. And what we can also do is do the same for the video. So TL parallax from to, grab the phone video, do a Y of 0 to a Y. Let's do something bigger, like -200. And again, we're gonna add our little symbol there so it all matches up nice and smoothly. And there we go, look at that. We have that cool sliding effect right down there. Now optimize it. If you want to make it less or a bit bigger, feel free to do it. We can also mess around with the scale here if we wanted to. Just get creative with it. Anything that you feel will look cool. Scale 1. Is that gonna mess it up? Probably. Can you even tell? I think I'm doing it on the container. So yeah, that's the container. So it's not gonna work. Nothing's gonna change. But yeah, there we go. All right, I guess what we can do is, for this one, let's see here. I'm gonna move the phone actually up a lot. So let's do -400 on the phone video. New. It almost keeps it still. Maybe even more, 600. Am I grabbing this correctly? I'm not grabbing it correctly. I'm like, what am I watching here? Nothing's happening. Ooh, there we go. Whew. Okay, now that's too much now. All right, let's tone it down to 200 the way it was. There we go. So you have that nice lighting up animation. And there we go. That's the end of that. So hope you enjoy this. Lots of fun making this. Feel free to add more pinning. Maybe you can have this page come on top of it. So try that as a challenge. Also, maybe give a shot. Try to make this mobile friendly. Just change a couple of things up. I think it looks okay. It doesn't look too bad. Yeah, maybe this text is too big now. Yeah, okay. So it needs a bit of mobile friendliness. Clearly, this is not going to work like this. But yeah, I might film another section just to do it the mobile friendly. But that's going to be it. Hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Next up, I'm going to show you how I put this together in Blender. So if you want to mess around with some 3Ds here, like this one, and add it to your website, I think you're going to have a good time with it. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Okay, so in this one, I just want to quickly show you how I got around making that first video in Blender. So all we have to do is go over here and search up Blender and download the software. Blender.org here. Org. download it. It's available for Mac and Windows. That's going to be a bit laggy for me, unfortunately, but I'll try to get through it very quickly. So what I did is essentially I downloaded, installed the application, and then I searched up iPhone models. So iPhone, let's see here, 13 model or 12 model Blender, like that. And there's quite a few websites. Sketchfab seems to be the nicest one that I did find. And actually this is the one I used, I believe. So clicked on this. And then I went down here and just downloaded it. Download 3D model. Then logged in and opened it up. So just download this. Let's see here, like that. And I choose the original format, which is a Blender format already. So that's really cool. All right, so once that's downloaded, close this up, wait for that to download very quickly. Let me see if I still have it. So I'll just open it up for you. I don't believe I have it anymore, unfortunately. Now, I'm not a Blender expert, but just messing around with it, I managed to figure it out and managed to make a little video. So here we go. After you unpack it, you get this whole debacle here, and then you have a source here with a Blender file. So I'm just going to open that up very quickly. And I'm going to put it right here for us. So it depends how it's going to open up. It's going to look something like this for you. And it's going to be a bit overwhelming, but don't worry about it. So first thing you should do is just go over here to modeling. All right. And now I'm using 2 fingers here. I'm on a touch bar, but I can move around and see this object right here. Okay. So what essentially I want to do is get one of these because they're the same. So if you just click on them, you can select them. And here it's kind of like layers tab. You can get rid of one just by right clicking and doing delete. All right, so we have our model here, which, I mean, you cannot see too much of it yet because we are in the viewport shading mode. It's in solid mode, which means it's just going to render it out like that. If you go over here to viewport shading method and choose this one, then it's going to render it out basically how it would export it with lighting and shadows and all of that good sort of stuff. So what I did was I kept it on this mode and essentially just double clicked here and opened up the layers panel here and just made it smaller. And I chose basically the back of it. So I went through these like that. So first of all, let's go over here to the back. So I click on that, and then in this panel down here below, you're gonna find something called materials. So click on that, it's this little circle icon, and then you can go here to the base color and just update the color to whatever you want. So if I want a bluish color, you can go over like that and change it to a bluish color. And same to the other ones. So feel free to customize it any way you want. Just click on all of them. If you see that golden color in this case, not sure how the layers are here, but just go through them and change the color again like that. What you can also do after, so for this specific one, I also need to update the screen here because it didn't recognize it for some reason. So I'm going to go over to the display here and as a base color, it had basically a PSD image. So if I click here on this icon here, it should do this iPhone 13 Pro PSD, but it's not doing it for some reason. So I'm going to click on this folder icon here and just go back, go up a folder, go to source or textures, I should say, and choose camera texture. I believe it's this one, iPhone 13 Pro. And double click on that. And there we go. That fixes that issue as well. Now, this is specific to this model. I'm not sure if he messed something up or not, but it wasn't linked properly. So you can do the same for the lenses. So if I click on the lens here, I can go over to the base color, expand this, and just update it to the lens JPEG here, or PNG. There we go. And now all the other ones, I'm not sure where they are. If you look through them, you're going to see the base color set as the lens. So let me see if I can find that. That's lens 2. I believe that's the lens in the front there. And yes, it did update it. Let me see if I can find another one just to show you as an example. So that's the glass. Oh, I really cannot find them anymore. Back, black. Where are the lenses? Oh my goodness. I think this is one of them, CA. It says camera texture. Is this the one I already updated? Let's take a look. Let's just go back here, textures, and do the camera texture again. There we go. That's the one. Now it's perfectly updated. Cool. So the way we can move this around is we can click on it once and go over to this tool here, which is the move tool. You can move it up, left, and right in the Z index, which is the depth of it, like that. Cool. So I'm just going to move it up here like that. Just rotate it around a little bit. And you also have these views here. So if you click Y, you can easily position it up like that. And then go over to X to see the front and just move it around. Okay, I'm going to probably do a Blender course on it once I get a bit more proficient in it. But for now, again, this is not really about Blender. So what I did next was basically add some lighting to the scene and a plane in the background, so a background to it. So what you can do is hold Shift A and add a plane to it. And then if you press S and just move your mouse around, you can scale it up like that. We can also open up a property panel right here in the corner. So if we click on the arrow, we can rotate it by 90 degrees, so like that. Optionally, what you can do is just go back and hit R and say Y 90. All right, so R, Y 90. And there it is. So again, you can move it with X and Y here like that, back and forth, position it just like that. And that looks really good to me. Okay, next up, what I want to do is add some lighting. So Shift A again, and we're going to go over to light, and there's many here. I'm just going to choose a point light here for us. Just move this up. I'm going to rotate this and just move this right here. I'm also going to update the background. So I'm going to click on the background, and on the material tab here, I'm going to click new and hit plus. I'm just going to change the base color of it to white, which it already is. So it's a matter of the lighting now to make it look nice. So just bring it up, bring it a bit to the side, kind of position it, experiment with it. I'm going to move it up here. What you can do is just increase the power of this here. So if you go over to the light setting, whilst the light is clicked, so you can either click it there or you can click it in the panel right here. All right, so let's just increase this quite a bit, 200, 300. That looks really good to me. All right, cool. So we can move this around. It's gonna take a while to update, so give it a little bit of time. Okay, cool. Now what I can do is add the camera. So Shift A, and we're gonna do a camera. Click on that, and there's our little camera. So what we can do actually is just go into the camera view and position it the way we want. So we can go here to view, and down here what we can do is lock the camera to view. So if I click that and then go over here to view and then go over to active camera, now I can just zoom out. So I'm going to drag my mouse and just zoom out, and the camera is going to move with my view here. So again, position it, just kind of moving it around, holding Shift. I'm going to drag up, zoom in a little bit. You can experiment with it. I'm going to leave it like that. This is just a little test right now, okay? So what I did for that video, I'm going to click on the phone actually. Let me move this so it's kind of straight. Is I took the phone, I'm going to go here to the item, actually rotated it to the side like that. So I'm going to use the Y to rotate it, and then the Z to rotate it this way. Okay, there we go. Something like that. I'm not going to be too precise right now, but you get the idea. So let's just move it like that. I'm just going to move my camera a little bit up like that. And what I did for this specific effect is I went over to the, so I'm in the camera now. I'm gonna go over here to, should be here somewhere. Let me see, where is the camera setting? Should be here. So also update this to GPU compute. So this is when you're actually rendering out the final project. GPU compute is going to use your NVIDIA graphics card if you have one, or if you're on a Mac, it's going to use the Metal. It's going to just perform a little bit better. Okay, let's keep searching for, where is that camera? So as I told you, I think I need to click on it first. Here we go. Click on the camera. There we go. There's camera settings. I forgot to click on it. And what I can do is actually just increase the focal length of this by a ton, like that. Okay. And again, I can hold shift and just move this across like that. And I can also increase the bokeh effect. So getting that depth of field. So click on the depth of field there, and f-stop basically means how blurry you essentially want the rest of the image. So I actually can pick a object, a focus point here, and select the lens, just like that. We just bring down the f-stop here to like 1.2. Yeah, it looks like it's working just fine. So it detected it perfectly. So look at that. So everything else is blurry, but the lens is nice and clear. So now essentially what I want to do is just create some keyframes and animate this back. Okay, let's just go over here to the animation tool. All right, and all I want to do is just scroll here back to 0 like that. I'm gonna just drag this away because I don't need to see that, and just go back to that camera view. So click on the camera. Let's make sure it's locked in the first place. So go over here to view, lock the camera to the view, and then view again. And we'll just go over to active camera like that. All right, so now what I want to do is animate stuff. Click on whichever thing you want to animate. In this case, I'll do the camera. Go over here, or over here in this section, or pretty much anything that you want to animate. Let's click on the camera here. And let's say I want to just move it back. So let's see here. Oops. Let me click on, where was it? Transform. Open this up. It says nothing selected. Why is it doing that now? Okay, let's click off of it and click back. That's the solution to my problem. Let's select the tweak here. Okay, go back to now rendering animation. Click, there we go. Manage to click on that. Click on the camera. Here we go, camera. And I can set a point here, which is a keyframe right there. So I can go in like 3 seconds in, so I can run this animation maybe 30 frames per second, so that's 3 seconds. I can just zoom it out like that to maybe 90. All right, and then all I'm gonna do is click I on it again, and that sets another keyframe. Now if I play it, that does a nice little animation for us like that. Now what I can also do is add the easings in here if I want to. Can right click on these and do, no, let's see, easing mode, and we can do an ease out if we want to. All right, there we go. So that's cool. Let me see, did I apply that? Ease out. Okay, cool. So you can do the same thing now with the phone. So you can add multiple things here. I can select the phone. I can just press I here where we have our location and maybe rotation as well. Go 90 seconds in or any amount, and then play around with it. Maybe move it this way a little bit. Maybe do some rotation. Do like that. Whoa, really cool effect right here. This is terrible, but okay, how do I rotate? Maybe something like that. All right, cool. And after you're done, hit I until it turns yellow, hit I until it turns yellow. And look at that, you have a cool, interesting little animation. Now it doesn't look that good here because it's not rendering it with the light. If we'd go over here to the shading mode, that would render it out with realistic lighting and everything. Now if I press play, my computer is gonna explode, so I'm just not gonna do that. Okay, so after you do that, other things you can do is, let me think about it. What else? Yeah, the way you export it is you go over here to this setting right here, choose the resolution 1920 by 1080. You can choose the output folder here if you want to. So you can go over to maybe movies, accept, and the file format as well. So you can do an FFmpeg video. That's gonna look great. And then all you need to do is go over up here to render and render animation. And that's it. Hit that, it's gonna render it out nicely, and you should have a nice little video.